controversial concert planned for Saskatoon. Why some Canadian tour stops have been cancelled. On the fire front, where flames are now dangerously close to a Saskatchewan community. And kicking off the Saskatoon X.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. A controversial concert is scheduled to go ahead in Saskatoon. While other cities have pulled the plug, the show will go on at Diefenbaker Park next month. CTV's Laura Woodward has the story.
Sean Foyt is a Christian singer and preacher, supportive of the Make America Great Again movement.
Fill it out and vote your values.
He ran for U.S. Congress as a Republican in 2020, and over the years he's spoken out against the LGBTQ+ community and abortion rights. Right now he's on a worship tour across Canada, but he's had to find new venues for a number of shows.
We have had venues canceled.
Winnipeg, Halifax, and Gatineau are among the cities that have either revoked Foyt's permits or flat out canceled his events, with officials citing a clash with community values and concerns around public safety.
I mean, I have never felt this level of resistance in a while, since 2020.
Despite other cities pulling the plug, his performance at Saskatoon's Diefenbaker Park on August 21st is planned to go ahead.
Currently, there are no public safety concerns that would require the event to be canceled. However, as with any special event, the situation may change as we get closer to the event.
Councillor Bev Dubois inquired about the concert after hearing concerns from her constituents.
They're worried about safety, they're worried about protests, they're worried about violence.
A spokesperson for Foyt said he was not available for an interview, instead referred CTV News to Foyt's Twitter post, reacting to Winnipeg denying a permit. Saskatoon police say it's aware of the event and is working with organizers, noting there are no immediate safety concerns associated with the concert.
To be clear, allowing an event to occur in public space does not mean the city is endorsing any event or any message of the event organizers.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
City Council has approved Saskatoon's homelessness action plan. The proposed plan includes several initiatives like exploring more zoning amendments, converting underutilized commercial properties into affordable housing, and incentives for repairing and renovating affordable housing units. City administration says the plan aligns with the city's existing rules and responsibilities when it comes to housing. The city says specific actions taken that require budget or policy changes will be brought back before council prior to proceeding. A finalized housing action plan is expected to be before City Council in the future. Prince Albert police are investigating a death near the city's rail yard. Police were called to the 1500 block of 5th Avenue East yesterday afternoon, where they found the person dead. No details about what happened or his identity have been released. An autopsy was scheduled for today. A person was sent to hospital after their legs were run over by a city garbage truck. The incident happened at about 10 o'clock this morning in an alley near Avenue I and 22nd Street. The city says it appears the person was lying on the side of the laneway near a power box at a 90-degree corner and was not visible to the driver. The city says the driver of the garbage truck is cooperating with the police investigation. No charges have been laid. 57 wildfires are burning in Saskatchewan, with some getting dangerously close to communities. John Flatters has more on the province and the federal government's response to the fires.
As the already long wildfire season in Saskatchewan continues, the province has battled a total of 406 fires, far busier than the 5-year average of 333 to date. The SPSA says efforts on the Muskeg fire have been successful, meaning P3 or non-health residents could start returning home to Beauval.
The other end of that fire, the far eastern side, is now impacting near the town of Pinehouse, and that community will now be going under an evacuation order and removing all of their non-essential residents from the community starting today.
Roberts says 11 communities or around 3,000 residents are evacuated, including the community of Ramsey Bay, where the bullfire is less than 4 kilometers away. He says the community has a safeguard where evacuations are ordered when any fire comes within 6 kilometers.
So that happened. We have been working with most of our resources dedicated to some of that in the area, including heavy equipment and crews, to ensure that it does not impact the community.
The province recently called for help from the federal government, which sent 300 Canadian Armed Forces soldiers to support SPSA firefighters.
CAF members, in conjunction with our provincial partners, are focusing efforts in 3 primary areas: Wahakman, Beauval, and La Loche. This support enables in-place provincial wildfire teams to focus efforts on more critical areas, reinforcing interagency effort to protect lives, infrastructure, and valued land.
Robert says with warm weather in the forecast, there's not much help coming from Mother Nature, and he's more concerned about shifting winds.
As we move resources to try and anticipate the wind and the weather and the fire behavior, we have to be prepared to move them back and reshift our priorities if needed. So that's going to be the biggest threat.
On Wednesday, the Canadian Red Cross announced financial assistance would be available for eligible evacuees who are not members of a First Nation community, as those members will receive financial assistance through community leadership. John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Stacey, some communities seeing more smoke from the wildfires today.
Yeah, you know what, Chantel? We had some reprieve from the wildfire smoke yesterday, but those air quality warnings are back in effect for much of the province, especially the east side of the province, really up to the territories, down to the U.S. border. There are air quality warnings in effect, but Saskatoon, Regina, and the western part of the province are exempt from those warnings. And on the topic of warnings, areas north of Prince Albert are also seeing some heat warnings with temperatures around 30 degrees. Now they'll start to see some reprieve, some cool down starting Monday, but I'll have your full weather forecast later in the show.
A man is headed to prison for his part in a fatal crash between a vehicle and an electric scooter last summer. Hallie Mandrick was in court for today's sentence.
In a courtroom overflowing with grieving loved ones, a 40-year-old man was sentenced to 2 years in prison for impaired driving, which caused the death of 25-year-old Austin Walker.
Wade Shaboyer previously pleaded guilty for his part in the accident, which took place on June 22nd of last year. Just after 3 a.m., Walker was riding an e-scooter on Warman Road near the Circle Drive overpass when he was struck and killed by Shaboyer's vehicle. Shaboyer then fled the scene, and police soon found the man with the scooter still attached to the front bumper of his vehicle.
People can do evil things, but at the end of the day, at their core, they're not evil people. We still have to punish them. Society has an interest in making sure that people see this happen and don't do the same thing.
The Crown did not offer comment, but more than 15 victim impact statements were read prior to sentencing. Walker's friends and family described him as kind, funny, and loyal, expressing that their lives have been forever changed since his death.
Following his release, Shaboyer will be on 3 years of probation alongside a 5-year driving ban. When offered an opportunity to address the court, Shaboyer said, "I'm sorry," to the crowded room. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan's NDP wants to see a concrete plan for nuclear energy in the province. It comes on the heels of the Midwestern Legislative Conference in Saskatoon, where Canadian and U.S. leaders discussed the future of energy, with the Premier saying the province will continue to move forward in growing the nuclear sector.
The public in Saskatchewan is going to have the opportunity to look at that plan, to provide feedback to that plan in the fall. We're tired of waiting. Yeah. Saskatchewan people are tired of waiting. And again, this is too important to leave to press releases, and we are losing opportunity with every minute we don't have a plan.
The government says it's been clear in its position to ensure reliable and affordable electricity, which includes careful consideration of nuclear power reactors. It adds it signed multiple MOUs to develop small modular reactors and narrowed the site selection for a potential first nuclear reactor to 2 areas near Estevan. The province is warning about a scam using the Premier's image to target Saskatchewan people. The Financial and Consumer Affairs Authority says fake social media posts claiming Scott Moe is endorsing online investment platforms are making their rounds. The FCAA says Premier Moe does not endorse or advertise any investment platforms. People are advised to always verify their investments and seek professional advice before investing their money. A similar scam also uses Prime Minister Carney's image. For the second time in 3 years, the city of Regina has fired its city manager. Regina City Council voted to fire Nikki Anderson at a meeting this afternoon. She's been on leave since April 29th, with city officials citing a personal matter. Jim Nickel has been serving as acting manager in her absence and will continue until a permanent replacement can be hired. Anderson was hired in 2022 to replace Chris Holden, who was fired by the previous city council. A military police detachment at 15 Wing Moose Jaw is getting a new name. As Sierra D'Souza Butts reports, the name honors the memory of a soldier who died of cardiac arrest while helping escort Canada's head of state.
To this day, Richard Hansen still carries the memory of learning how to fish with his uncle Dan.
He would explain the flies themselves that he would make and why they would float or why they would do a certain thing to try to catch the salmon or the trout. And it was a learning experience that I could remember with him.
Others knew him as Master Warrant Officer Norman Danny Elbridge O'Donnell. He died of cardiac arrest while leading a motorcade for Queen Elizabeth II during her visit at 15 Wing Moose Jaw back on July 30th, 1978. In recognition of O'Donnell's more than 30 years of service with the Canadian Armed Forces, the military police detachment in Moose Jaw has renamed its building after him.
There's many examples over his career where he put himself on the line and put himself in danger to serve others, and that very much speaks to what we expect of our, not just our Canadian Armed Forces, but he was also what I consider a profession within a profession, in that he was a military police officer.
Describing his uncle as a man dedicated to serving his community, Hansen says he is proud to see him being honored.
We have a special uncle, and we really enjoyed the things that I've done with him, and to hear that he was going to be recognized for the service he performed was pretty special.
Members of the armed forces say O'Donnell exhibited what officers strive for, putting themselves in harm's way to serve others.
There's many examples over his career where he put himself on the line and put himself in danger to serve others, and that very much speaks to what we expect of our, not just our Canadian Armed Forces, but he was also what I consider a profession within a profession, in that he was a military police officer.
Although it was not in his nature to talk about his service, O'Donnell's family says they are grateful to see his legacy will carry on in the military community. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, 15 Wing Moose Jaw.
A young Canadian actress is in Regina for a movie role in a Saskatchewan-based romantic comedy. Madison Tevlin, who has Down syndrome, has a growing number of acting credits and nearly 400,000 Instagram followers. Wayne Mantika takes us on a look behind the scenes of One Perfect Date.
Madison Tevlin often gets over 1 million likes when she posts to social media. This month, Madison is in Regina to star in a romantic comedy. It's being shot in several locations around the city and in Fort Capel.
Well, this is about Emma, who is a young adult who has Down syndrome, and she is in pursuit of finding the love of her life.
So, Evan actually thinks he has a girlfriend?
The film is written and directed by Lucas Frizon and is inspired by his earlier short film production called Pen Pals.
Just showing people with different disabilities on our screen that's what you see out in the world, and you know, the actors that we have in these roles are extremely talented, super funny. It's a coming of age romantic comedy, so it's putting them front and center, and they're knocking it out of the park.
I'm gonna ask her to meet me in real life.
The movie is called One Perfect Date and is one of the larger productions being shot in Saskatchewan this summer. It's due for release in theaters next year. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatoon X is about to get underway in the city. The annual X Parade winding its way through downtown Saskatoon this morning. Jeff and I were able to ride in style thanks to Terry and his classic MG convertible. The Saskatoon exhibition is celebrating its 140th anniversary this year. It's expanded from its usual 6 days to 8 and features 17 more rides. The Midway opens tomorrow with the exhibition running through August 7th. The Saskatoon Public Library's Performers on Parade series runs through Friday, and an artist well known to Saskatoon's music community is wrapping things up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Former Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra conductor Eric Petkow, under his alter ego, Mr. Eric, is performing his catchy children's songs at Libraryies this week. Performers on Parade has been running all month, featuring everything from cultural dancing to storytelling to sing-alongs. Petkow's final performance is Friday morning at the Dr. Frida Ahenekeu branch. Still to come, a sigh of relief for millions living near the Pacific Ocean. Also a big announcement from the Bank of Canada. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. There's no rate relief coming for Canadian borrowers just yet. For the third time in a row, the Bank of Canada held its benchmark interest rate at 2.75. Rachel Aiello reports.
Uncertainty over the future of the Canada-U.S. trade war is clouding the economic outlook in this country, prompting the central bank to again hold its key interest rate at 2.75%.
Growth in spending by Canadian businesses and households is being restrained by uncertainty, and new U.S. tariffs are having profound impacts on directly affected sectors.
Today, this country's top banker said future inflation projections hinge on the outcome of the ongoing cross-border trade talks.
The tariffs have a permanent effect on the economy unless they're removed.
The decision was widely forecasted by the big banks, but came as a shock to Ontario Premier Doug Ford. He said staring down the economic uncertainty, it's never been more important to stimulate growth, and called on the central bank to cut interest rates now. How would you respond to that?
Look, we take our decisions independently of the political process. We are going to make sure that a tariff problem does not become an inflation problem.
That tariff problem only growing today, with U.S. President Donald Trump announcing 50% tariffs on certain copper imports, citing national security. The sudden announcement adding to the pressure Prime Minister Mark Carney and his cabinet are facing. With the clock ticking and no new trade pact in sight, economists say there's a lot riding on Canada getting a good deal.
That's why I think, you're seeing Canada sort of running the clock.
Though Trump's envoy to Canada still thinks there's a chance of an agreement by Friday.
It's Wednesday today, so you've got at least 48 hours and maybe up to 72 hours, but a lot of things happen at a close of a negotiation.
That time for Canadian companies like Algoma Steel is of the essence. Today, the company suspended its dividend after posting major losses, saying tariffs played a large part. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
As the crisis in the Middle East continues to unfold, Prime Minister Mark Carney has confirmed plans for Canada to recognize a Palestinian state.
For the reasons I cited earlier, Canada intends to recognize the state of Palestine at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025. This intention is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to much-needed reforms, including commitments by the Palestinian Authority's President Abbas to fundamentally reform its governance.
The move from the PM follows similar pledges from the UK and France as aid organizations warn of looming famine in the Gaza Strip during the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Israel has argued recognizing a Palestinian state in the wake of Hamas's October 7th attacks would be rewarding the militant group. A sigh of relief for millions of people in coastal areas surrounding the Pacific Ocean, including BC, where a tsunami threat has been declared over. Concern about the massive waves followed a major 8.8 magnitude earthquake in far eastern Russia overnight. No serious injuries have been reported. Russian scientists say this was the most powerful earthquake to hit the region since 1952. Meanwhile, Russia has canceled tsunami alerts for coastal areas in the far eastern parts of the country. Tsunami heights of between 3 and 5 meters have been reported in the Kamchatka Peninsula, which the area of Russia is sparsely populated, and there are no reports of any significant damage. There have also been dozens of aftershocks in the hours following that initial earthquake. The largest was magnitude 6.9. Russian media is also reporting that a volcano in the country's far east, the tallest active volcano in all of Eurasia, has been erupting. As Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre looks to secure a new seat in the House of Commons, he took part in a by-election debate last night in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot.
Look, I'll be honest, having a leader of a political party as your local member of parliament is a trade-off. On the one hand, the leader, in truth, lives in hotel rooms. At the other side, though, is that leader can bring a very powerful megaphone to the local issues of the community.
I firmly believe that Monsieur Poilievre is too busy with his own personal ambitions to give a rat's backside about us.
10 candidates took part in the debate, but more than 200 have registered to run for the seat. Contenders answered a range of questions about immigration, healthcare, agriculture, and the economy. The by-election was triggered when elected MP Damien Keurig resigned so Poilievre could run in his place after losing his own Ottawa area seat in the spring election. The by-election is set for August 18th. Well, Stacey, we are looking forward to the long weekend because your forecast is looking pretty decent.
Yeah, right now, Chantel, temperatures are pretty much on par with seasonal, and it's only going to get warmer from here. Some people may like that, some people may not. Right now in Saskatoon, 25, Prince Albert, also 25, the Battlefords, 26, very light winds right now. Our high today, 25, our low, 11, pretty on par with our seasonal highs and lows. Our record today was 38, set in 1894. Now the record low was 2 degrees, set in 1908 and 1920. Now the sun went up at 5:25 a.m. and it went down just after 9 p.m.
Coming up, have you ever attempted Morse code? Why some Canadian teens are trying their hand at it.
Welcome back. Well, certainly the biggest weather story around the globe in the past 24 hours has been that earthquake in Russia, the 8.8 magnitude, one of the strongest earthquakes recorded. That prompted tsunami advisories on the BC coast. That has now lifted. And no injuries have been reported. So good news there. Taking a look at Western Canada, we have that region of high pressure still. So heat warnings in BC, Alberta, and of course, northern Saskatchewan. But really across the province, we are expecting things to heat up, especially over the next few days. In terms of precipitation, a few scattered showers areas north of Prince Albert, but nowhere near the amount of rain that is needed for that area. Taking a look at current temperatures, 25 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, 26 in the Battlefords. Again, some pretty light winds. Buffalo Narrows, our hot spot today at 29. Collins Bay, our cold spot at 1 degree. Around the province, temperatures in the low 20s for Estevan, Regina. Things heat up as we move up north. Prince Albert, 25, same with Saskatoon, 24 in Rosetown, Watrous, 24 in Hudson Bay and Nipawin. And normally our temperatures up north are a little bit cooler than us. I know Monday we saw temperatures in the low teens, and now they're really heating up. Key Lake, 27, Stony Rapids, 24, 21 in Collins Bay. And again, this is where those heat warnings are issued for. Temperatures in the seasonal would be more so in the low 20s. And in southern Saskatchewan, 23 in Coronach, East End, 26 in Maple Creek, 25 in Leader. Temperatures hovering around the mid 20 degree mark. Weyburn, 20, slightly cooler. Taking a look at our future cast, some cloud coverage north of Saskatchewan, a little bit of rain too for areas north of Prince Albert, but pretty much a clear sky throughout the province. Those isobars, those white lines on the screen also indicating some light to moderate winds tomorrow. And again, it's going to be another hot day. Temperatures in the 30s for La Ronge and Stony Rapids. Buffalo Narrows, 29, and Key Lake, 31. Sunny across the board here, 30 in Meadow Lake, 28 in Spiritwood and Kindersley, 27 27 in Rosetown. And again, more temperatures in the high 20s, sunny in Leader, Outlook, and Swift Current. 27 in Yorkton, Regina, Moose Jaw. That sun's really going to come out. Estevan slightly colder at 24. Sunny in Melfort, Watrous, Humboldt, and Hudson Bay. And again, temperatures in the high 20s, so it's going to be a pretty warm one tomorrow. In the Battlefords, partly cloudy tonight, a low of 11. Tomorrow, sunny and 29. Again, it's going to be hot, and things are going to heat up as we move towards the weekend. Friday, a high of 29. Saturday, 30. Sunday, 29. And then things cool off slightly Monday, but still pretty hot. Tuesday, a risk of thunderstorm and 40% chance of precipitation. Partly cloudy in Prince Albert tonight. That air quality is considered high risk. 10 plus is considered very high risk. Tomorrow, sunny, and it's going to be high risk for air quality as well. Experts usually advise to limit your time outdoors when we have high risk air quality. Tomorrow, a high of 29 and sunny. And again, heading into that long weekend, we're seeing that big 3-0 and temperatures warm up from there. Cool off slightly Monday, but still pretty hot in Saskatoon tonight. Our air quality is considered low risk, a low of 11. Tomorrow, it's going to be hot and sunny, but the winds will be mild. Might be a good day to head out to the lake if you have some summer holidays. But again, that long weekend, it's going to be pretty warm. We may see some rain and risk of thunderstorm Tuesday. But Chantel, as we get further out of the forecast, that could very well change. Thousands of fans lined Ozzy Osbourne's funeral procession route in Birmingham, England, to pay their respects to the Black Sabbath frontman. Fans have made pilgrimages to the sites around Birmingham since Osbourne's death was announced, and family members of the music legend greeted them as they gathered to bid farewell.
My name is Happy Gilmore. 30 years ago, I decided to give golf a try.
Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore 2 is proving to be a hit among fans. The long-awaited sequel, which launched on Netflix last Friday, garnered 46.7 million views in its first 3 days. That would make it the biggest U.S. opening weekend of all time for a Netflix film. The sequel also prompted interest in the first Happy Gilmore, which ranked in the top 3 globally for a second consecutive week. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour, which ended this past Saturday, is one for the record books. Cowboy Carter is officially the highest-grossing country music tour in box score history. According to Billboard Box Score, the tour grossed $407.6 million and sold 1.6 million tickets. Beyonce is the first woman and the first American artist to have 2 tours over the 400 million mark.
All right, Stacey, you were out finding about all things Fringe earlier today.
Yeah, Chantel, there's a lot going on. And you know what? I even got a psychic reading. Hello, I'm here in W.E. Graham Park, just off of Broadway, joined by Drew, an organizer with the Fringe Festival. And Drew, all the festivities get underway tomorrow. Can you tell us what we can expect this year?
Yeah, we're busy on our setup right now. We're going to have carnival games over and behind us, performers outside on the stages, food trucks. We got a beer gardens over here, artists and vendors up and down the street, and 3 venues of indoor theater happening as well.
And how many acts can we look forward to?
Oh, so many. Inside the theaters, we're going to have 21 on our festival site and 2 more over at Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan. And then I've got, a couple dozen different busking and other artists performing out here as well.
Okay, sounds like something for everyone. And one of the acts is the singing sidekick all the way from London, UK. And can you tell us what we can expect with your act here?
Yes, hello, my dears. Yes, I am the singing psychic, and I have brought my game show. So we're all going to play Psychic Bingo and Psychic Jenga, and I am going to look at the songs in your heart. And I mean, I have to say that also I have brought my arrow of desire here as well. So I walk through a world of music. So everyone's hearts sing beautiful songs to me. Even you. I know you need help. So, I mean, what am I hearing from you? Working? Oh, always tell us if you walk in the world. But yes, a bit of shake it off, because you know that you're really in a place of joy and discovering what a wonderful world it can be. Also, I hear working 9 to 5. And you're really getting into being that working woman, and you're killing it. You're doing a great job.
Okay, I like the sounds of this. And where can we find more information on the Fringe Festival, get tickets, all that good stuff?
Yeah, well, you can come right on down here to the park. The box office will be set up soon, and they'll be ready for you. Or head to our website, 25thstreettheater.org, and it's got everything you could need.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me today, guys.
She is not wrong. You are killing it. And I think you're going to do that in pick of the day as well.
Thank you. You know what? I wish she saw winning the lottery in my future, but maybe another time.
You can always go back and ask her.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably just forgot to tell you.
For sure. Okay, taking a look at the pick of the day today. This was sent in from Alex Larson. Some bees on a bloom flower. Very nice. This was taken in Alex's yard there. Very nice. Honestly, great photographer too. I'm impressed that you were able to get this close to these insects. This is also from Alex Larson. It's a beautiful butterfly. I believe Alex calls this one a Compton tortoise shell butterfly. Beautiful. You know, I don't know my insects, but that is a beautiful butterfly. And moving on to our next photo, this was sent in from Donna. She says, my kitty Cheech. Oh, no, this is Paddlefoot. Sorry, Paddlefoot is taking a stroll on the banister. Paddlefoot, very beautiful cat there. And our last photo here we have, this is Cheech, and Cheech is taking a snooze. Well, Donna, you have some pretty cute cats. If you ever need a cat sitter, you know where to find me. Okay, and if you want to send in a photo, you can do so at cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, the riders get set for their toughest test yet. But up next, keeping a centuries-old tradition alive. Morse code is a lost art in danger of disappearing forever. But at a Calgary Heritage Museum, a new generation of telegraph operators is emerging. As Kevin Fleming reports, it's one of the only places in North America teaching the craft to teens.
They're two of the 6 junior members of the Morse Telegraph Club at Heritage Park. Sienna Wright says it's easier to send a message in Morse code than to receive and decode one. Her technique is to write down what she hears and then turn the code into letters of the alphabet.
I'm fascinated by the past. I really like learning how things were done and dressing up like the past, so I really enjoy doing this.
Ariane Aubin has memorized the code and says it takes a keen ear to decipher an incoming message. Her sister is a member too, and they practice at home.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I've texted her in Morse code before. I've also tapped between our walls at home, so it's sort of like our own little thing that no one else really understands.
Morse code was invented in the 1840s as a way to send messages quickly over long distances.
The railroads primarily used it to transmit train orders from a dispatcher to a little station like this. That was the chief reason. They weren't using it all the time, so any extra capacity in the system, it was telegrams.
To get messages to engineers and conductors of a moving train, operators used hoops at the end of a long pole so the train didn't have to stop, a technique still in practice at the park. Marilyn McGuire heads the club and says visitors at the park enjoy seeing their names spelled out in Morse code. She says it's important to teach the craft to the next generation.
It's a dying art. People who did it as a job are in their late 80s, some of them in their 90s. There are a few that have picked it up and learned as their 70s. But this is the only club internationally that has been working with young people.
We have people come in that say their grandparents used to do it. And it's sort of nice for like a newer generation to sort of continue, know a bit of the history.
Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
When we come back, teeing up a battle between the CFL's division leaders. And nothing says worked besties like some matching ink.
Welcome back. It's time for a rural forecast. And again, we're in store for quite a warm up tomorrow. Temperatures in the high 20s, Meadow Lake in the 30s, sunny across the board, and winds will be light to moderate. Again, characteristics of that high pressure system we're seeing pretty much across Western Canada. 28 in Lloydminster, 28 in Spiritwood, 28 in Kindersley, 27 in Outlook. That's only about a degree warmer than seasonal. Seasonal would be about 26, but still fairly warm tomorrow. And again, same pattern across southern Saskatchewan, 29 in Maple Creek, 28 in Leader, 27 in Rosetown, Lumsden, Assiniboia, Cornack. Carlisle, a little bit cooler than the rest, but again, mainly sunny conditions across the board, and again, light to moderate winds. Taking a closer look at Hepburn now, a high of 28. The sun comes out, and the winds at 15 kilometers an hour. Again, traits of a high pressure system that we're seeing across Western Canada, light winds, warm temperatures, and it's only going to get warmer in the next couple of days. Now, Hepburn is also where you can get internet plans up to 1 gigabyte from SaskTel.
And welcome to another edition of X's and O's with Wes Kates. This is my bye week, so I'm doing this from home. Wes Kates also rather busy as Riders get set to face the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal. And Wes, Montreal, one of the top teams in the league, although they will not have Davis Alexander in the lineup. They're going to have to go with, McLeod Bethel Thompson is going to have to play this one for them. So what do you think is going to be the toughest challenge the Riders are going to face in this one?
Well, you know what, Lee? Both teams have been playing really good football in some close games. I feel like the Riders have been getting out to some decent leads and then kind of letting them slip away, whereas Montreal's been getting behind early but finding ways to come back and get a win. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out in this one. Both teams are playing well kind of to finish games, and I think that this is going to come down to which team can control turnovers, not have any, and then turn the other team over. I think McLeod Bethel Thompson is obviously a quality quarterback in this league, and we all know Trevor Harris is as well. But I think McLeod will probably be more likely to be the guy to turn the ball over in this one. So let's hope that's the case.
Montreal's defense is one of the best in the league, too, when it comes to giving up points per game. The top two teams are Montreal and Calgary, but Calgary gives up a fair amount in the air. This team has got top three numbers, both in stopping the rushing attack and the passing attack. So how pivotal is a guy like Trevor Harris, who's obviously having a great season so far, going to be to try to pick apart a defense that's been pretty strong so far this season?
Yeah, it's going to be crucial, Lee. I think that Trevor Harris has shown that he can adjust and make some changes, definitely coming out and having some big second halves. So I think as long as the Riders don't abandon the run, because the run is just important to keep teams honest, keep them playing, with a couple linebackers on the field and not just sitting back in a heavy zone with a bunch of DBs and just smothering the pass. So I think that, you give them some dose of A.J. Ouellette. Here, there's some O-linemen that are likely going to be healthy for this one for the Riders, so that should help. And then, just let Trevor Harris do what he does. He doesn't hold on to the ball too long, so he's going to read and dissect the defense. Hopefully Montreal's defense doesn't get too tricky on him and show him some looks that kind of confuse him. But with the receivers that we have and the fact that it's been just about any receiver every week, right? It hasn't been the same one. So Montreal's defense can't really focus on one receiver. I think that'll help Trevor spread the ball around and just be able to make plays as he sees fit.
Now, MLS, of course, looks like he's not going to play. We've seen really good play from Obastelli as well as Johnson and, of course, Myers. But do one of those other two Canadians going to step up? Because we've had injuries to the Canadian receivers, and you need a guy like, whether it's going to be Duncan Busby or Tommy Neild or even Mitch Picton if they put him back in the lineup. How much do those guys need to step up to kind of give that different look that maybe we haven't seen in the last few games?
Yeah, it seems like Trevor Harris likes Duncan Busby, so I'm expecting him to probably step up. Mitch Picton, obviously, when he's called upon, typically does what's required of him. Neil, we'll see. I mean, he's a younger guy, but definitely the riders are high on him. I was even curious to see if Mims gets a go this week, but I don't think the receiving core, whatever they're doing in practice, they seem to be working and getting guys ready to go out there and play in multiple spots.
We'll see if the Riders can solve their woes in Montreal. They typically don't do well. I think the last one may have been when that storm ended things early and he ended up winning it. But whether it's external or internal pressures they'll face, we'll see if they can get through it in Montreal before their next bye week, which is pivotal with all those injuries. Wes, thanks for this. We'll have another edition of X's and O's next week.
It's going to be the game of the week, Riders in Montreal.
With more on how the Riders are preparing for their next game, here is Jacob Carr.
Here's what happened to Emilus on that play.
You can see he got hit low on the screen pass here.
Sam Emilus taking a hard hit to the knee during last week's game against Edmonton. As a result, the star receiver hasn't participated in practice this week for the Green and White. In his place, taking Team 1 reps has been fellow Canadian Tommy Neild.
I just want to bring my own energy. I'm the type of person play one play at a time mentality, and you know, I'm gonna play hard every single play and make the play when it comes my way.
Neild spent the first 4 seasons of his CFL career with the Toronto Argonauts, so Riders head coach Corey Mace is familiar with what he brings to the table.
Big target, smart player, definitely knows how to fit in the zones. He can block around the box, and he can go up and make some plays. So he's had a good career to this point. Again, you know, like I said last week, excited that we had an opportunity to go get him.
Speaking of familiarity, playing in the East Division, Neild has plenty of experience playing in Montreal, the Riders' next destination. He had an interesting comparison when asked to describe playing in Quebec.
It's a lot of fun playing in Montreal. It kind of feels like McGill Stadium's like something out of Harry Potter, and it's a great atmosphere for the CFL.
Neild says he's a big fan of the movie series and tries to watch through all 8 films at least once a year. His Hogwarts house also happens to be close to Ryder Green.
I feel like, I don't want to say, I played the Harry Potter game and I got put in Slytherin, but yeah.
Neild may be able to snake his way into some open areas down the field on Saturday in order to help the Riders improve to 7-1 on the year. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatoon Blades are turning to a familiar face to help develop their next generation of players. The team has named Jason Becker as the club's new player development coach and Canadian Sports School Hockey League scout. The Saskatoon product spent part of his junior career with the Blades and 5 seasons with the U of S Huskies. In addition to his new role with the Blades, Becker will continue to serve as the manager of hockey operations and U15 prep head coach at the Pacific Coast Hockey Academy. We'll be right back. Well, nothing says work bond like getting a tattoo with your colleagues. Our CTV Morning Live Saskatchewan team got some TV-themed tattoos to prove just how deep their friendships run. Producer Nathan got a TV. Videographer Ashley got a TV and camera. On-the-go reporter Janelle got a camera. And weather host Kayleen got a microphone. So I guess they really like each other.
You know, when Jeff gets back, maybe you guys can go together.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah, I think I will also opt out of that.
Weather buds together, right?
Yeah. I think I'm going to be sick that day, actually.
Fair enough. We'll revisit next week. Before we go, robots are being used to help with all sorts of things. Now you can add nanny to that list. A conference in China is talking about the future of robots in the nanny industry. A nanny robot can work in elder care, schooling, as well as household services, nursing, monitoring, health, and offering companionship. Industry experts say the cost of building nanny robots is going down and their use is expected to skyrocket over the next few years. Look, they can also wash your walls. So.
And you may never have to clean a toilet again.
That would be great. Yes. They could figure that out.
Yeah.
All right, looking for a very warm day tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, Chantal, it's sunny across the board. And in the evening, it's going to be quite warm at 27. mild winds, very light winds, again, characteristic with that high pressure system. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's going to be a nice few days ahead of us.
Absolutely. All right, thanks for watching.